on the readout.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Do you believe if Donald Trump were elected next year that he would try to stay in office beyond a second term? That he would never leave office?
There's no question.
You think he would try to stay in power forever?
Absolutely.
The stakes could not be higher. Trump says if he wins, you won't have to vote anymore. Tonight, we are laying out the dangers of Project 2025, the manifesto that would give him that authoritarian power, limit your rights, and force you and your family to change the way you live your life. And we begin this special episode of The Readout tonight with a dire warning for our democracy. Over the next hour, I will lay out the greatest threat to the American democratic experiment in modern times. And it's called Project 2025. With just 99 days till Election Day, and with voting starting a lot sooner than that in some states like Pennsylvania, where early voting begins in September, it is imperative that every American understand what Project 2025 is about and how it would affect every single one of us if it was ever enacted. Tonight is just the first of many nights where we will dig into this dangerous plan. And I really want you to listen, learn, take notes, and share it with everyone you know. And if you look on your screen, you'll notice that QR code where you can find our segments on Project 2025 so you can share them. So let's start with the basics. This is the 922-page MAGA manifesto. We printed the whole thing out, and it's brought to you by one of the most conservative D.C. think tanks, the Heritage Foundation. This is the culmination of nearly 50 years of work that began during the Reagan administration. Broadly, according to Heritage President Kevin Roberts, this is a Christian nationalist plan to end what he calls the Great Awakening and, quote, rescue our kids, reclaim our culture, revive our economy, and defeat the anti-American left at home and abroad. This manifesto, which they call a book, is a specific roadmap on how to accomplish that by giving a Republican president unprecedented power. They do that by slashing the federal government's footprint, gutting regulations, slashing the money we spend on children, students, the elderly, the environment, education, and reproductive health care. Every single chapter describes in excruciating detail how to reorder our society by dismantling federal agencies and limiting the federal government's ability to help protect you, the American people, from predatory businesses, excessive taxes, poisoned air and water, you name it. Lately, former President Donald Trump and his campaign, fearful of how unpopular Project 2025 is, have claimed they have nothing to do with it.
I don't know what the hell it is. It's Project 25. He's involved in Project. And then they read some of the things, and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it.
Yeah, but that's not the complete picture. Here is Trump promoting the Heritage Foundation and their little project just 2 years ago.
Heritage does such an incredible job, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America. And that's coming. That's coming.
Here's the other truth. Roughly 140 individuals who worked in Trump's administration are affiliated with Project 2025, including 6 former cabinet secretaries and 4 people who were nominated as ambassadors by Trump. The others were either key figures from his first transition, close Oval Office allies, or mid-level agency officials. There's Russell Vought, Trump's former Office of Management and Budget Director, who wrote Chapter 2 in the section titled Taking the Reins of Federal Government. In this chapter, he lays out how to consolidate power around a president's political vision. He explains how you can bypass Congress and only fund projects that ensure consistency with the president's agenda. He is rumored to be Trump's choice for chief of staff. And according to Politico, he and Trump speak once a month. Vought hopes his close relationship with Trump will elevate Christian nationalism as a focal point of a second Trump administration. Then there's Roger Severino, a former Trump administration DOJ official who wrote Chapter 14 about the Department of Health and Human Services and how to restrict abortion access across the country. Severino is a dogmatic anti-abortion militant who strongly believes that an America that allows abortion cannot survive.
The federal government has an absolute role in this. There cannot be now two Americas. One America where unborn life is protected and another where unborn life is treated as the equivalent of medical waste. Yeah. Right. That is untenable. This has to be settled nationally. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Yeah. We can't have two classes of Americans.
In Project 2025, he advocates for using the regulatory powers of the Department of Health and Human Services, the Food and Drug Administration, and the Department of Justice and the National Institutes of Health to end access to mifepristone, prohibit stem cell research, and create, quote, pro-life task force in the White House. Trump, Vance, future staffers, future administration officials, and all of his former employees support parts or all of Project 2025. Do we really think that they would not implement these ideas if given the chance? Up next, I will detail for you explicitly the things they intend to do, from redirecting how we see ourselves socially, how we build our society, how we get by, and most importantly, and the one I worry about the most, how they will completely end how government functions, leaving a less safe, less prosperous, less free country for the majority of Americans.